And the third day there was a marriage in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. And both Jesus was called and his disciples to the marriage. And when they wanted wine, the mother of Jesus saith unto him, They have no wine. Jesus saith unto her, Woman, what have I to do with thee? Mine hour is not yet come. His mother saith unto the servants, Whatsoever he saith unto you, do it. And there is set 6 water pots of stone, and after the manner of purifying of the Jews, containing 2 or 3 firkins apiece. Jesus said unto them, Fill the water pots with water. They filled them up to the brim, and he saith unto them, Draw out now, and bear unto the governor of the feast. And they bare it. And when the ruler of the feast had tasted the water that was made, he knew not whence it was, but the servants which drew the water knew. And the governor of the feast called the bridegroom, and saith unto him, Every man at the beginning doth forth good wine, and when men have well drunk, then that which is worse, but thou hast kept the good wine until now. This is the beginning of miracles did Jesus in Cana of Galilee, and manifested forth his glory, and his disciples believed on him. And after this he went down to Capernaum, he and his mother and his brethren and his disciples, and they continued there not many days. And the Jews' Passover was at hand, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem, and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves and changers of money sitting. And when he had made a scourge of small cords, he drove them all out of the temple, and the sheep and the oxen, and poured out the changers' money, and overthrew the tables, and said unto them that sold the doves, Take these things hence, make not my Father's house a house of merchandise. And his disciples remembered that it was written, The zeal of thine house hath eaten me up. Then answered the Jews, and saith unto him, What sign shewest thou unto us, seeing that thou doest these things? Jesus answered and said unto them, Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. Then said the Jews, 46 years was this temple building. Wilt thou rear it up in 3 days? But he spake of the temple of his body. When therefore When therefore he was risen from the dead, his disciples remembered that he had said this unto them, and they believed the scripture and the word which Jesus had said. Interesting. Let me just turn this around here. This is a fascinating story because we get the first miracle of Jesus turning water to wine. I always wondered why that was the first miracle. One of the things I thought was because traditionally you serve good wine, and then later you water down the wine, or you serve something that's a little bit cheaper. As people drink more, they're not going to realize that that the wine is any different because they're drinking over a period of time. Their senses get whatever, right? As you drink more, you get a little bit unaware of your surroundings and all this kind of stuff. So when Jesus turned water to wine, they actually had good wine, and he made better wine. Because that's what the governor said. He said that usually this is what happens. You get good wine and then bad wine, or worse wine, or cheaper wine. And now we have had good wine, and now something even better. So I think that's what Jesus is saying. There is something better, which is him. We should be serving him. Then in the next instance, he goes into the temple, and there are money changers and all this kind of stuff. And I won't go into detail as to why they were there. But basically, if people traveled from a long distance, instead of bringing animals they would bring money and exchange that in order for them to have a sacrifice. So just money was created to be able to do that exchange so that you didn't have to bring all the animals from a long distance, and then things could happen. They could die, get sick, whatever it is. It's just a burden. So the easiest way is to carry cash on you. When you get to the temple, exchange it, all this kind of stuff. And I think what was happening was there could have been manipulation with the money when it was being exchanged. Maybe by the time people got there, it cost a little bit more than they thought it was going to cost. Dishonest scales, all this kind of stuff. Plus, Jesus was there. So I think in some ways, he is suggesting or telling them that there is something better. Excuse me. Because you have the wine and the new wine, something better. And now you have someone that is better than the temple that they had there. In fact, Jesus said, if you destroy this temple, I will rebuild it in 3 days. Then the Pharisees said, how can you do this? It took 46 years to build this temple. But Jesus was referring, and I don't think he corrected them there, because his disciples remembered this after he rose from the dead, what this meant, and all of a sudden they got it. They got it, that Jesus is the temple. And that goes all the way back to my theory about maybe Solomon got it wrong when he was building the temple, because God told David that David was not to build the temple. And in fact, someone down the line from his lineage is going to build the temple, and I will call him my son. I will be his father. He will be my son. And God says that in the New Testament. He says, this is my son, in whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. So, kind of interesting there. So that's what I think was happening at the temple. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching. Feel free to comment, and I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.